Recently, Guild Wars Reforged is popping off in the best ways possible. New updates, new game modes, everything that will make you feel like it's a Saturday morning in the mid-2000s again. Now, just because you are playing it in 2026 does not mean that it is a pushover. It's actually fairly complex and has a lot of challenges hidden within it. So in today's video, I'm going to offer a streamlined guide tailored to saving you 50 plus hours in the game because you won't have to make all the mistakes that I did. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Guild Wars Reforged and Guild Wars 2 content. So if you have purchased the Guild Wars Reforged game, you are given three main campaigns: Prophecies, Factions, and Nightfall. Each one of these campaigns have their own nuances and individual difficulties, but there is one major feature that drastically changes the entirety of your gameplay for the life of your character, and that is the friends that you made along the way. You see, in Factions and Prophecies, you can of course group up with real players, but many people just join up with what is offered, and that is henchmen. While henchmen are somewhat capable, they have less intelligent AI, and you are basically stuck with their own unique skill sets. No customization whatsoever. Introduced in the Nightfall campaign, you can recruit heroes. These are essentially the leveled up, fully customizable version of henchmen that allow you to personally make changes to their builds and gear. What's even more wild is that they simply function as another real player. Now, your action step here: create a character in Nightfall. It can be any of the classes, of course, but if you want to be unique to Nightfall, you can pick a dervish or a paragon, but any class really will do, and you will play until you get your first couple of heroes. Koss, Dunkoro, and Melanie will be able to be recruited very quickly, and it's an excellent place to start. Also, you'll be able to pick up a bunch of different skills just as you were going through, so it's kind of a win-win all the way around. But now this is where things change. Okay, so if you've played Guild Wars 2 for a while, you will immediately notice a difference in how the combat flows in Guild Wars Reforged. Instead of using your dodge roll ability to make action combat much more flowery, you tank most things that are thrown your way. Also, you cannot jump. Like, your feet never actually leave the ground in this game, unless you're like knocked down by a skill, but that's a different story. You have to unlearn the way that you played Guild Wars 2. There is no dodge rolling. There is really no deft movements. For the most part, to get out of the bad, you simply just have to move out of the damn way. And this does take some training and knowledge of what the skills are and how to dodge those AoEs. Mainly because they can hit like a Mack truck, and it's not like Guild Wars 2 where there's a clear red rectangle on the ground that you know to move out of the bad. Here you have to be able to identify the skills based off of the effects that are happening and moving out of the way. Basically, if it's anything negative, you're going to want to move out of the way, but you need to gain some critical knowledge of gameplay and what the skills are to make sure that you don't stand in the bad. Second is everything is physical matter in this game, meaning body blocking is a very real thing, and you can quickly get surrounded by 4 enemies and burst it down because you can't run away. Keep that in mind because that also applies to enemies as well, making sure that your positioning is correct and that you always have some type of escape so that you don't get surrounded and deleted. Lastly, the way that combat works in Guild Wars Reforged is that you have to be kind of calculating with your pulls. You can very easily be overwhelmed by accidentally pulling an additional group that you did not mean to do. So how do you fight this? Well, you fight dirty. You are trying to put the enemies into a singular position or a bad position, or pulling the group away from other patrols as to not be overwhelmed. Personally, what I recommend is carrying around a longbow for any character, as I can order my group back and then switch to the longbow, shoot the longbow, hit an enemy, and then pull them into my group away from the other patrols and work down that one group at a time. It's a bit slower than bull rushing, of course, but it is much safer than dying. Learning these combat tricks will 100% increase your survivability as well as your enjoyment of the game. Trust me, it sucks when it feels like you're just running into patrol after patrol after patrol and you're like, leave me alone! This next part does require you to purchase the expansion for Guild Wars Reforged, which is the Eye of the North, but it's 100% worth it. Honestly, not only is the story fantastic, but it opens up an entire new playground of skills and abilities as well as more heroes for you to play with. Personally, to me, it's worth every dime, but just as an FYI for this step. Once you reach level 10 from your Nightfall character, you'll get a quest pop-up that asks you if you would like to go to the Eye of the North. and you need to take that shit immediately. This will have you do a short run quest, like 5 minutes worth of work, and once you get to the other side of this quest, you are granted 2 new heroes, a healer and an elementalist, and they are both level 20, but we're not done quite yet. Just a small distance north is the Eye of the North town, which if you follow the quest there, you will unlock Gwen, a mesmer who is absolutely a need on your team. Not to mention a 4th new hero that you can pick up outside of any major city, and that is Mox. That gives you an entire fighting force of 7 heroes to play with, 4 of which that are already max level. This essentially has you unlock the easy mode for your campaign. Also, as a note, with the new game modes like Doom's Covenant, where it requires you not to die, this makes the earlier levels so much easier and much less of a struggle, just an FYI. But all in all, in less than an hour's worth of work, you can recruit a number of different heroes that will absolutely make your team like the Tom Brady's Patriots. I would also like to mention that you can create a character on prophecies or factions and then get them to level 10 and accept a similar quest that takes you to the Eye of the North, and you can unlock heroes there. So keep that in mind as you're playing. This is especially important if you're doing like the Melandru's Accord or the Iron Man game mode, as you get the heroes unlocked very, very early. Now that we have learned the flow of combat and have gotten a bunch of heroes at our back, this is where we can split off into a number of different directions. Because we are playing Nightfall, we could simply just continue the journey of Nightfall until we get to the last main quest of the starter island, which is The Time Is Nigh. After completing this and going to Kamistan and accept a quest that allows us to either go to Cantha or to Lion's Arch, this is kind of like the converging of the campaigns all in one, and we can split off into our different directions. Personally, I would recommend just continuing with the Nightfall story to completion, but that's really the beauty of these campaigns in Guild Wars Reforged and kind of Guild Wars 2, is that they're all isolated stories, so they have no issue with being able to stall the Nightfall campaign until you complete factions or prophecies and go from there. I mean, if you want to complete the chronological order, then we go to prophecies, factions, and then finish up Nightfall, but that's up to you. Personally, I am going to continue my Paragon's playthrough so that he can get all the elite skills for later down the road, you know? And truth be told, I would have failed Doom's Covenant very, very early on. After you've completed one or more of the campaigns, there's a lot that you can get into. PvP in any fashion, gold farming, elite skill hunting, hard mode missions, titles. I mean, there's a lot of game that is still left even after you've beaten the main campaigns. One thing that you could do is farm the elite armors, or by doing the older quests, unlocking all the skills for your heroes. Personally, with the new game modes, Reforged, Doom's Covenant, and Melandru's Accord, you have a lot of replayability. Reforged mode, by the way, is only for the Prophecies campaign, just because it basically means you get better XP and better gold, while also improving the henchmen. Doom's Covenant is the hardcore game mode, and meaning that if you die, you've lost the challenge, and Melandru's Accord is the Iron Man's equivalent. Your character only has access to the things that your character has unlocked, and then of course when you earn some of the unique titles with any of these game modes and those achievements, you get to showcase that off onto your character, which is pretty cool. My favorite thing has, of course, and still is, elite skill hunting. I have very much enjoyed that aspect because it's fairly challenging, but it requires you to work for it, and you get this kind of reward, you know? Now, that is simply the method that I have tried and I have had great success with. My early playthrough of Guild Wars Reforged had me struggling with a lot of different things that I probably would have been able to do a lot easier and cover quicker if I went through this method. But honestly, I wanted to grind and I wanted to work through my first full playthrough. Now, I know that this does not apply to everyone, and if you want that good old-fashioned, genuine Guild Wars Reforged experience, you can just play Prophecies and just go from there, start it from the beginning, and work it the way that it was intended. But I hope that this has helped you out and has made your first playthrough a little bit easier in that regard. If you are still looking for a reason to be convinced on playing Guild Wars Reforged, you can click this video here to see some of the biggest reasons of why I've loved this game. As always, stay caffeinated, folks.